We're back on Hockey Prospect Radio on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, partnered with ECAC Hockey, leaders in hockey on and off the ice. Learn more at ecachockey.com. We're happy to bring on an ECAC alumni in Meghan Turner, who had played for Quinnipiac, so giving your Bobcats low love, from 2013 to 2017, and has moved on into the management role. She was with the Boston Fleet as their AGM for 2 seasons and is now the general manager for the new franchise in Seattle. So, Meghan, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Shane. Excited to be
Well,
here.
it's an amazing journey. And what I'm really interested in to get your thoughts on is when you were playing in Quinnipiac as a young player, there wasn't the opportunities for not only female professionals, but also if you wanted to move on into the executive world, that ceiling hadn't been quite broken yet in at the NHL level, or even in some case, obviously in some cases in Europe. How much do you think, as you're looking, like if you were a freshman and someone told you in 12 years you're going to be a general manager of a pro women's hockey team, would that ever have crossed your mind?
No, not in a million years. I think, um, yeah, no, not at all. The the prospect of working in hockey, continuing to play after school, and then obviously moving into this space from a professional perspective would have it never really crossed my mind. I think you look up to it and you're like that, yeah, that would be cool, but it wasn't certainly ever anything I thought was in my future. I had a little bit more of a traditional path in my brain, but life isn't linear, so I take it in stride.
Talk a little bit about your time in Quinnipiac. How much did your education really prepare you for an opportunity, with the Boston Fleet as an AGM and with Seattle, particularly, you have the Bachelor in Science, but also then the MBA. So you're seeing it from two different types of lenses and understanding that sometimes we forget hockey's a business and hockey operations is a business. I almost sort of laugh when somebody says, "Oh, do you want to work on the business side or the hockey side?" You mean the business side and the business side? So how much did that really help prepare you in retrospect?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, Quinnipiac was an amazing institution. The professors there, I've said it before, they were, held you to a high standard, but it was really as much as you put in, you're gonna get out of it. And I think I worked hard for them, and they were really flexible with me and my schedule with the hockey team. And then obviously Cassie Turner and the coaching staff really valued academics and being a student athlete at heart. So it was a very supportive environment both ways. I feel like Quinnipiac as a whole, top down, balanced the athletic and the academic side really well in a way that, at least in my experience, set me up really well to succeed in both as much as I could. So have only just amazing things to say about the university in both the athletics department and the academic department. I think to your question or point about hockey as a business and pro hockey as a business, it certainly is on the hockey ops side. At least it's interesting. You're combining an emotional sport with a business, right? And so I think coming from the corporate world where it's very businessy and it's very sorry, my dog's here. And it's very buttoned up. You're now inserting this emotional game into it. And so I think that's where I had a bit of a transition coming from PricewaterhouseCoopers and consulting into the Boston Fleet, was just kind of recalibrating and getting back to a team, a true hockey team mindset, and then meshing that with my business experience. And that obviously was something I learned to do from the get-go in school.
Do you find with your time with the Boston Fleet as an AGM and getting out and evaluating players and evaluating people, because it's not just a player, it's a person. How
Mhm.
much do you think is an advantage for your league that all your players were student athletes and they had to manage a high level of academic expectation along with a high level, like, playing expectation, and being able to balance that both and then having that funnel into now being a professional? How much do you think that was an advantage for you as an AGM recruiting and evaluating players?
Yeah, I think there's a level of real maturity in the players in the league. A lot of them come from, magna cum laude and degrees at high institutions, and a lot of them just know success at different levels and achieved success academically as well, and athletically. And you're seeing also a lot of players too are pursuing charities and starting their own foundations and things of that nature. So I think there's a wide range of experiences and backgrounds in the league, and I think overall the player pool, they're just a, a group of really mature, smart people at the end of the day. And so yeah, it makes your job a little bit easier, I guess you could say, as far as recruiting goes. But yeah, I can't say enough about the player pool, just in terms of the level of person that these players are.
As a new general manager in Seattle, you were thrown into the deep end of the pool. Here you go. You have a team. You have no players. You have to hire your entire staff, and then you have to go through expansion process. You have to go through another draft and
Mhm.
try to piece all of that together. How much of your time in Quinnipiac and then in Boston prepared, along with your practical experience, which I think is sometimes very overlooked in hockey, of having business experience, of being able to build out processes to help you make decisions so you understand if it's a success, okay, how did we do that? You can reverse engineer that. Or if there was something didn't work out, okay, again, use inversion and reverse engineer that and figure out, okay, what did we miss? How much did that help you through the processes over, the last few months? Because I suspect you were, drinking through a fire hose.
Yeah, I'll try to articulate this well. So at Quinnipiac, I was in a 3+1 program where I was pursuing your bachelor's and your master's at the same time, basically, while juggling a Division 1 sport. So drinking from a fire hose is kind of the norm for me. So that certainly set me up well for my PwC career, which, as anyone who has worked in consulting or dealt with consultants knows, it's a grind and it's very difficult. So that my experience at PwC is certainly something I'm leaning on as far as my habits and the foundation of how I operate professionally, because I think it's such a fast-paced environment working in consulting, and you are starting from scratch at times and trying to problem solve and work with a lot of different priorities, and trying to figure out how to make the most of of what you have in front of you in a short period of time. And so I think PwC experience was a step up from my Quinnipiac experience, and then obviously later on with the 2 years in Boston. I think that just helped me combine or adapt the professional experience that I had learned into the hockey world and into this environment. So it does feel as though it's been a progression leading up to this, in a way where I've built some foundation and acquired some tools along the way that I think have helped in just doing this in a short period of time.
Well, I'm very excited for you and your entire group in Seattle. Anytime there's an expansion team, there's excitement and nervousness, and, looking back of like, okay, did we make the right decisions? And then go back and try to continue to work on that. So I expect you guys will have fabulous success. And Megan, thank you very much for coming on the show, and good luck this season.
Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a short break on Hockey Prospect Radio. Stay tuned, and we'll be back right after these important messages.